Hello and welcome to another live. It's Wednesday again, 8 p.m. Australia, 10 a.m. UK, bit of an earlier time, and I think 5 a.m. in the USA. I've got Holly Mason joining me today from Perception Is Your Power. But if you didn't realise, the podcast is now out, season 4, and last week I had Olympian bronze medalist for Taekwondo, Sarah Stevenson. So go and have a listen to that one. This week I've got, who have I got? I've got Jamie from The Mind Tradie. Him and I got together and had a chat, and we talked about the stigma around mental health. So that's on this Sunday. The following Sunday we've got Yana Lalick talking about, what's she talking about? She's talking about cults. She's a doctor of coercion and cults and stuff like that, so she's going to be on. Anyway, Holly's here. Let's get Holly in. Invite. Holly, how are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm good. It's good to see you. Are you okay?
Yeah, good. It's good evening from me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sorry. I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. here and 10 a.m. there, isn't it?
Yeah, 10 a.m. here. Yeah.
However,
it is still a little bit dark today, so it still feels like the nighttime. It feels a bit eerie.
Oh, does it? Well, the sun's just gone down here about 15 minutes ago because now we're on summer daylight savings.
Yeah.
So it should be warm, but it's been actually freezing cold and raining all day today. So a lot like England, probably.
Yeah, the exact same, yeah.
So we're going to talk about self-limiting beliefs today.
Yes. I feel like this is such a good topic. I love this topic.
It is a good one, and it's one that, a lot of people don't realise until they hear about it, that they do have self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Because we all think, oh no, we're getting on okay and everything's okay. And then, we've got these little voices in our head going, no, you can't do that.
Exactly, yeah. And I think sometimes it's good to go back to look at where they're formulated to try and recognise whether we do have them. Some of us aren't aware of them, and we're not aware of them because we live our whole life with them without realising. So actually I'm hindering myself.
Do they usually start from childhood, or can they start anytime?
Yeah, so self-limiting beliefs. So I'll go into our belief system. So our belief system is part of our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind creates beliefs because it's almost puts them in a position where we're protected. And they're formulated from between the ages of 0 to 6 because that's kind of the age where we're looking for our acceptance and our understanding from parents. So we some of them are really positive, like for instance, don't run out into the roads because you could get run over, or don't put your hands in the fire because it's going to burn. However, a large proportion of them are conditioned from our parents' parents and their parents and their parents, so we kind of accept them as normal, like I will never be rich, or I will not be successful, like I can't be successful. So we grow up with that belief system and we just think that that's just normal when it's not.
Look, you're right, because I had an issue with not high school, middle school in the UK when I was about 10. We had a teacher who told all the boys in the class we'd never amount to anything, and she was a bit of a bully. I mean, nowadays she wouldn't be working, but I carried that all the way through my life until I was 40 and I started my counselling diploma. And it was only that the mentor said to me, look, there's some reason you're not learning. And I'm like, well, I had this teacher and said, right, let's change that. And once we changed it, I started just going for it. It was like, but all my life I'd thought I'm never going to be anything. I'm just stupid.
Yeah, it's like a form of classical conditioning. We're conditioned to believe certain things, and we have to like recondition ourselves. But to recondition ourselves, we have to be aware of it. And it's so hard if we've grew up our whole lives believing something, because you almost think, oh, well, it must be true because I've always believed it, when in reality it's not. And the definition of self-limiting beliefs is, you know, these assumptions and these preconceptions and these negative perceptions that we have that hinder us, and, you know, they stop us from performing or achieving to our maximum capability, because we've just always settled for, I can't do that, so I'm not going to try, there's no point. And it's a form of self-sabotage. And this is why, like, so many people, they find that they have reoccurring patterns in their life. So for instance, they'll get into a relationship and it'll be negative, and then they'll get out of it and get into another one, and they'll go, this will be different this time, and it'll be the same. Or, you know, they'll yo-yo diet and they'll go, this time I'm really gonna, you know, I'm gonna really try. And the reasons why they keep reoccurring, these patterns keep reoccurring, is because their belief system just hasn't changed. So in order to completely restructure those patterns, we've got to change how we think and how we believe. So it's so important, because it changes you can navigate your life in a completely different way if we just change this one thing. You know, if we stop assuming that we can't, and we believe that, actually, you know what, maybe I can.
And is cognitive behavioral therapy the best way to do this? Because that's changing maladaptive thought patterns. And I guess, you know, I mean, that's what helped me with the psychologist who was helping me with my studies. But it doesn't work for everybody, does it?
No, not necessarily. And there are a few different ways that you can change your belief system. So there's a book called The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he talks about how our beliefs are cellular. So our physical body, it changes based on our mentality and the way that we believe. So for instance, if you think, say I say to you now, okay, I want you to hunch over and say, I am powerful. The chances are you're not going to believe that you're powerful, because you're hunched over, you're in a vulnerable position. If I said to you, sit upright and take a breath in and then breathe out and say, I am powerful, like that, you are going to believe that you're powerful. And that's the connection between the body and the mind. Right. So you have to really, really, like, you have to change how you physically hold yourself to believe that, you know what, yeah, I can. So even that, something so simple as changing your posture. Or, you know, because we can go into this thing where we say, okay, you know, if you manifest things and you set affirmations, and then you will change. But we've really got to believe those manifestations and those affirmations to actually change. So
one blue princess has just said hello, and I am powerful.
Yes, hello.
That's fantastic. And look, what you just said then as well is true, because if I'm walking along the street a bit hunched over, I'm usually feeling a bit shit and like, oh, the day's not great. But if I'm walking more backwards and upright, I feel like I can take the day on.
Exactly. Yeah, your posture. It really is. We really do have a mind-body connection. Our beliefs really are cellular. They really are. So if you do hold yourself in a different way, I promise you, it's a massive one. I realized this because I think as a young woman, I'm kind of used to like walking with my head down. I'm a little bit introverted, so at times I can make myself feel vulnerable just through the belief that, you know, oh, no one wants to see me, or, you know, I better just, you know, make myself sparse. When in reality, I'm really trying to change that now, and I'm trying to hold myself in a different light so that I can say, well, you know what, I may not feel confident, but I'm going to believe that I can be. And it's changed for me.
Why is it that because like if I'm with friends or if I'm with participants for my work, their families and stuff, I'm very confident and outgoing and great. But when I'm walking along the street, or if I'm walking through the supermarket, I rarely look at anyone else. And if I do, I sort of feel a bit self-conscious. Now, why is that? Because I don't know.
Yeah, so part of that will be insecurity, but also, so I was having this conversation on the weekend. I went away on the weekend for like a little retreat, with a group of people that I don't know all of them, and I was out of my comfort zone. And I was saying to a few of them, when you're in a situation where you're with people that you don't know, it's so hard to know what your identity is, because we build our identity based on the expectation of others who we're surrounded by. So I always say we're multifaceted, we're loads of different faces or loads of different people, dependent on who we're around. And the way that we act and behave and talk is based on whoever we're with, what we think that they expect of us at that time. And so when we're in a situation where we don't necessarily really know all of the people, we go inside of ourselves because we don't know who we truly are. We think, how do I act here? Okay, I'll just be quiet, or I'll just put my head down, until you know them. And then you'll find that when you're at home or when you're with your parents, you're yourself completely, because you're just so comfortable with who you are around them. Whereas if you're outside on the street and you've met somebody who you were like, wow, look at them, but you don't know what they expect of you, you think, well, I'd better just weigh it out first, until I can. It's so hard to be yourself, isn't it?
Look, I mean, I remember if I had a party, I was out there chatting to everybody because I knew everybody. If I was invited to someone else's party, it was almost like I had to have someone come with me, because otherwise, I don't know if I want to go, because of that exact thing. I don't know, like, I know the couple of people that are having the party, but I don't know everybody else there. And it used to take me a bit of time to actually go and then start just walking around talking to people. And I know there's nothing wrong with me, but it was just that, I guess, self-confidence, not knowing who the other people are, not knowing about them, where they're coming from and all that sort of stuff. You sort of go, exactly. Oh, I better stand back a bit.
Yeah, and part of that will be as well, that self-limiting belief of, well, I might not fit in here. I know I have that sometimes. I think to myself, what if I don't fit in with this group, or what if I say things that they don't really understand? And that belief that I'm not going to fit in manifests in the physical form, because you start to believe that you don't fit in. You start to act like you don't fit in. It makes you leave. It makes you leave the environment. There's been so many times where I've been in an environment with people and I've decided I'm not going to fit in there, and I've been the first person home.
Yeah. And look, I was the same when I was around your age. I'd go to a party, I'd hang around for a little while, and I'd think, this isn't my thing. And it probably was my thing, but I just wasn't talking to anyone. So I'd be like, I'm not even going to say goodbye. I'm just going to go. This was before mobile. So people couldn't then just ring you and go, hey, where'd you go? And you're on your way home. You could just nick out the door, and they couldn't call you till the next day on the home phone. But, you still just felt like, I don't fit in here. I'm going to go.
Yeah. And it's like a big thing with assumptions. I read in, there's a book called The Four Agreements. I don't know whether you're aware of it. It's a brilliant book. And it talks about how, as humans, we're always looking for answers with things. So rather than like making sure that we have the exact answer, we'll at times make assumptions. And those assumptions may not always be right or wrong, but they're just to settle our brain to stop asking questions. And we act on the assumption then, and we alter how we behave based on the thing that we've assumed. And it may be so wrong. You may be with a person and they may be a little bit quiet, or they may be a bit edgy because they've got things going on, and you assume in your head they don't like me.
Yes.
Because you don't want to say to them, is everything okay? And then you act on that then, and you stand back, and then you become distant, and it's silly, isn't it? Because really that assumption is not the truth. It's not truth. It's just an assumption. It's self-limiting.
Yeah. And it's just what you've concocted in your head. And I love that you brought that up, because, when I was studying, I really got into assumptions, because I just realized how many assumptions I made of different places I was, different people I was talking to. And a lot of the times they were wrong. The more you study, the more you can sort of pick what's going on, like, yes, you're a psychologist. But assumptions they can just bring you down in every way, because you assume all this stuff and then find out later, none of that was true. Why did I concoct all this in my head? Well, because I thought it was true. Well, you made an assumption, and these people aren't like that. And you're like, oh, so I wrecked a
Yeah.
good night because I was assuming that these things were happening, or people over there were talking about me when they weren't even talking about me. Not
Yeah.
paranoia, I just mean assumptions. Yeah. One Blue
Yes.
Princess
Yeah.
just asked, what was the book called that you just said?
It was called The Four Agreements.
Yes.
The Four Agreements. Yeah. It's
And do you know who wrote
brilliant.
that?
It's. I
It's
think
got
his
four
surname's
like little leaves on the front, hasn't it?
yeah. It's only a small book. I think his
Yeah.
surname is Rui. I can't
Is
think
it
of the.
Kaleo?
No,
I
I
can't look
can't
it up
think of
because
it.
I'm on my phone.
There's only one, The Four Agreements. I
Yeah,
promise you, you'll know it.
Princess, if you Google the Four Agreements book, it will come up. And if you can't find it, I'll let you know tomorrow because I've got a copy
Yeah,
here. I'll have a look at what it's called, who wrote it.
yeah, it's
It
brilliant.
is a
So good.
brilliant book. It really makes
Yeah,
you understand lots of things.
yeah, and he also talks in that about like not taking things personally, and I think that kind of does link in well with that assumption thing because we're driven on emotion, but we do also take things personally, don't we? So we look at things in an emotional level and think that's directed at me, or and that in itself is self-limiting because it hinders relationships, it hinders our mental health, it hinders how we hold ourselves, and all of those things are the things that we're navigating ourselves through our life with it, aren't they? So it's bad. We need to change it. We need to reprogram it.
Look, it's brilliant because when you first came up with the topic, I was like, oh, yeah, this is really good. But you've just brought up some great things like assumptions and how we perceive ourselves and how we think other people's opinions affect us when those opinions aren't necessarily true because we've concocted them ourselves. And I
Yeah,
must say that once I started studying, I didn't tend to do that as much because, you don't have what are those unhelpful thinking styles like catastrophizing, black and white, all those different ones, the fortune teller, where you think you know what's happening and it's not actually even happening, or you're predicting what's
yeah,
going to happen and it doesn't happen that way. And
yeah,
it's funny how with those unhelpful thinking styles, how much I've seen them come into play with different people around me. And I'm thinking, God, you're stuck in that. And, some people want help and you go, oh, look, I think the way you think is actually this type of thinking. And they go, really? Oh, well, how do I fix that? And I go, well, here's a few things to read because this will really help you. And other people go, oh, I don't think like that at all. And you go, oh, okay, maybe I'm making an assumption. But to me,
yeah,
it seems like that's what you're doing.
yeah. And you notice it at first within yourself, I think, when you study these concepts, because you're like, wow, I've realized there's work that I need to do, because it affects us all. We're all human. And then once you've done that work on yourself, which is never ending, but once you're aware of it within you, you can spot it within others. And
Yeah.
it's so important to then try and help others to diminish that, because it can be it can cause really bad mental health issues, I think. If you live in your life through the assumption of others not liking you, or not being capable enough, or not being lovable, your chances are you're going to isolate yourself, which is going to completely change your life, and you're not getting the most out of your life experience then, are you? Whether it's in
No.
work or whether it's with friends or family, not being able to find a group to belong in based on your assumptions and your negative preconceptions of yourself that really aren't real. They're not. They're not
No,
truth.
and those sort of when you get to that sort of stage, you're looking usually for a group to fit into, which generally isn't a good group to fit into,
Yeah,
because I mean I've done a lot of interviews on the podcast with cults and people who have survived cults, and some people who join those are very, like you just said, don't believe in themselves, don't think they're worthy of friendship and stuff like that. They join a group like this and they're love bombed and treated like, almost like a guru, like, oh, wow, you're amazing. We love you. We'd love you to join this group. And before they know
yeah,
it, they're in a group that they don't want to be in because they didn't find their tribe outside of that.
yeah. Which is exactly like the repetition of patterns that you continue on if your beliefs don't change. You're
Yeah.
never going to be in a relationship with somebody that really you deserve and you can be if you believe in your head I'm not lovable. Or, you know, if you're with a group of friends that really you feel a little bit lonely with and you feel like you've got no connection to, but you think, well, if I don't stay with these friends, I'm never going to find other friends.
Yeah.
And
And that can be really detrimental too, can't it? Because then, you know,
yeah,
whatever they say to you, however they treat you, you still stay. And that can be really detrimental on your self-esteem.
yeah, well, one of the massive symptoms or like signs of like major self-limiting beliefs is people pleasing. And people pleasing is like thinking, I'm not lovable and I'm not worthy of connection, so I'm gonna have to people please to keep these people around me, even though they're not good for me, even though they're not making me feel whole and fulfilled. I still better please them and put myself aside because, you know, they matter more than me, which is so
Is there
sad.
two types of people pleasers? Because I've actually been told I'm a people pleaser. Not that I like to please everybody, but because I'm always there to help people when they need some help.
I mean, I'd say, I mean, I'm very similar, you know, and I did people please to keep people around me. Don't get me wrong. I think we all do that when we're younger. But I think
Yeah.
in terms of like our sector and what we do for work and what we know in terms of psychology and mental health, I think it can sometimes seem like that. But in reality, it's not. If you're the person that people come to, I think that it's a compliment, isn't it? You're not pleasing people, you're wanting to help, which is
Yeah, I
good.
guess so. Yeah, that's good
Yeah.
because I did a podcast, I think last season or season before, with a guy who's a psychologist here in Australia. And he said, look, you're a people pleaser. I'm a people pleaser. And I was like, oh my God. And he goes, but that's not a bad thing. It's similar to what you just said. And he
Yeah,
said, you like to help people because you know you can help people and you don't
exactly.
expect something back in return. Whereas a lot of people help people expecting something to come back to them.
Yeah,
And,
altruism.
you know,
Yeah, altruism,
oh,
isn't
yeah,
it? It's
yeah.
like altruistic behaviors where you want to help somebody for absolutely nothing in return. You know, you're not benefiting from it. You're just wanting to help. And I think I'm a little bit like that. I mean, in my past, I really wanted to cure people, and you know, that's been the negative side of it, where I've been thinking, okay, I'll use that as this is a little bit of a challenge, and let me see if I can fix this person. But now, you know, with age and a little bit more understanding, now I'm like, okay, whoever needs me, I'll be there for, and I won't expect anything in return. That lack of expectation in return is the massive thing, isn't it? That's the altruistic
Yeah,
behavior.
yeah. Look, I used to be told that when I mean, I haven't dated now for almost 10 years because when I finished my marriage, I just thought that was it. But I was always told by my mum, you always seem to go for girls who need help or that, you know, you can look after. And I go,
Yeah.
I know, I don't know what it is in me, but that's what I do. And I usually find that I get really burnt out in the relationship because I'm constantly trying to help. And
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, you take on that role of trying to fix somebody, and sometimes that can be like a distraction from wanting to fix yourself. I'm not saying that that's how it is for you, by the way, but I know that was what it was with me. When I've been in previous relationships where I've like really wanted to try and fix them, it's been because I know I've had trauma from my past, or maybe not even trauma, just things that have happened in my past that I've wanted to distract myself from and not fix. So I've took on this
yeah,
role of, okay, I'll transfer it onto you and I'll fix you instead. And then once you do have that time out, so I've had a year now to myself, which has been like amazing, the most fulfilling year ever. I've found myself. And I feel like in that year, all of that has come up, and I've had to, like, you know, look at it. I've got to look at it after a while and realize, oh, okay, it was me that needed fixing as well. And hopefully now, you know, I can then apply that in another area of my life at a later
yeah.
date and be able to be with somebody that doesn't need fixing. You know, that's the positive of it. You've really got to look at it properly.
Well, look, I'm quite a bit older than you, Holly, but I know myself. I was talking to a happiness coach for this podcast, and I said to him, you know, I think nowadays it's more acceptable to be single because I'm not lonely. I've got lots of friends. I've got my family. I'm always doing stuff. But people still say to me, well, aren't you lonely? And I go, why would I be lonely? I'm very happy doing my own thing. If I want to go out with someone, I
100%.
ring a friend or whatever. I go out
Yeah.
with my family. I do a lot of other stuff like this, the lives, the podcast. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. But people say to me, oh, but don't you want someone for your old age? Why? You know, if I can't look
Yeah.
after myself, I'll go to a home. But I don't need someone there to look after me when I'm old.
Yeah, because you want it to be for the right reasons, I always think. And you know
Yeah.
what? Like, we're fed this information, I think, from the media, which is like, you need somebody else to feel whole. And I went in,
Yes.
I delved into this topic with Leandra, LJ Coaching, when we did a live, and it was around mental health awareness, you know, and the topic was loneliness. And I was saying, we're fed all this information on television programs like Married at First Sight and Love Island and
And
First
look how it
Dates,
turns
and
out for them.
exactly. But we're watching these things, and we're constantly looking at, you know, okay, I need this other person to live with, and we've accepted the understanding that we need to, you know, share a bed with somebody every night. And you know, as lovely as it is to connect, why are we looking at ourselves as codependent when really we're all individuals, aren't we? And I think if we changed that idea and that outlook, we would be able to really find and connect with people for better reasons than like, oh, I better get someone else to feel whole. And I think once you are in a good place, like what you're saying, and I'm in the same place, I'm not lonely at all.
Yeah.
Once you're good with yourself, you realize, okay, well, if someone else is going to enter my life, it's going to be for the right reasons, because I don't need anyone.
Yeah, well, look, someone also said to me, but what if you need something done and you can't do it? And I said, well, look, if I can't do it, I'll pay someone to come and do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I have to have a partner here to go, oh, okay, can you go and do the shopping or something? You know, I don't know. Look, I have noticed over the years, lots of people I know who are in relationships and they're not happy, but they're in them because they don't want to be alone. I don't know how we got onto this, but it's
I know.
interesting because, like you said, you're the same, because I just feel like, you know, and there's a lot more articles nowadays as well about people being single, people being happy. That happiness coach said that what you usually find with couples who get together and then either they're long term or they get married is that there's a little bit more happiness at the beginning, and then over, say, 12 months, that happiness goes back to where their happiness was before they got with the person. So
Yeah.
that you're the same happiness you were before you met the person, and you've sort of gone up and then back down. And he said, so it doesn't actually mean that being in a relationship does make you happier. It might make you happier at the beginning, but then it's more of a, what's the word? Not sort of companionship, sort of, so you sort of grow together, almost like become, not family because you're having sex and everything, but, you know, you become comfortable with that person.
Yeah, it's what you normalize, isn't it? It's what you
Yes, normalize.
normalize. Then you then just, because at the beginning it's like a change, isn't it? And although change at times can feel scary, it can feel thrilling and exciting, and we can start to like gain some sort of lust for somebody else, and it's different because we've not had that for a while. And
Yeah.
then, you know, that diminishes, doesn't it, the longer that you know somebody. And also you realize that they're not this idealized, glamorized person that we've convinced ourselves they are. They are human, and they do also have some negatives, which is fine because we all do. And then
Yeah.
that lust kind of it decreases, and yeah, you love them, but it becomes the norm. Becomes the norm. I think
Well,
as well what you were saying there, sorry, about like, you know, people saying, what if you can't do something? You know, what if you can't, you know, do you not need someone? That I can't do something is a self-limiting belief,
yeah.
because you can, and we have to really believe that we can do whatever we want to do in this world, because you've got to be, it's another agreement, you've got to be impeccable with your words. If you tell yourself, I might not be able to do something, chances are you're going to believe it and you're not going to be able to do it. Tell yourself
Yeah.
you can. You
Yeah.
believe that you can, and you will.
And at least give it a go. See how you go.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
not
I'm not
saying you can
saying,
walk on water or fly. I mean, that's like, you know, there's, of course, there's limitations, but
yeah.
you know, it's important.
It is important. Yeah. Look. All right. So where were we before that? Self-limiting beliefs. So, what? So what do you think are the main self-limiting beliefs that people have?
I think the main ones are work, success. You know, I can't be successful. I can't earn the money that I want to earn. I can't get to that place that I want to get to in life, so I'll just settle for less.
Yeah.
Or relationships, I am not lovable. I do not deserve the relationship that I want, or I am not capable of attracting somebody that I desire. I
Yeah.
think they're the two main ones. And you know what, if you think about it in your life, the two main things in your life, the things that take up the majority of your time, your connections with like friends and relationships and your work.
Yeah.
So if we're limited in those two areas, we're not living our lives in this optimal way, are
No.
we?
No, because we're worrying and not producing what we need to because we believe that we're not worthy of it. We're not able to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not able to do any of those things.
Yeah.
You know, I guess. So what would you say to someone who felt like they couldn't be successful in their job? What sort of things come forward? I guess with CBT, can you explain the what's it called? The I can't remember what it's called. It's in CBT. It's the something to do with negative thoughts, changing the negative thoughts. No, it's automatic thoughts.
Yeah.
The
So
automatic thoughts can be, I can't do this. I'll never be able to do it. How do we change that? Can you remember? I can't remember.
Yeah. So like restructuring the model of negative thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is we have something called metacognition, which is a way of like thinking that. So metacognition is being aware of the thoughts that you're thinking. And to expand your metacognitive awareness or your metacognition, we have to start to carry out like meditative practices, you know, so meditation and mind stilling activities where you become aware of the things that you're thinking to actually be able to become attuned to these self-limiting beliefs and these self-limiting thoughts, because without being aware of them, it's absolutely impossible to change them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say like starting off with meditations, or you know, sitting down and trying to really become aware of your thoughts, surrounding thoughts every day. That's like one of the main things. And then I think after that, it's all about then affirming with yourself, you know what, these thoughts that I'm thinking and these beliefs that I'm thinking are not necessarily true. Sometimes we believe that like our thoughts are so true, and they can be self-sabotaging thoughts, they can be intrusive thoughts that we then run on and go, oh my god, you know, I can't, there's no way I can. But if you affirm with yourself, actually, just because I'm thinking that, it doesn't mean it's true. It allows you to look at it from a different light. I think sometimes we don't articulate it, do we? We don't sit and think about it, we just accept it, rather than trying to understand why are we thinking those things. Because intrusive thoughts, that's a massive one, isn't it? You know, if you're having negative intrusive thoughts, the thoughts are that negative and that intrusive that we just go okay and we run away from it and we just believe it rather than looking at it. And it's uncomfortable to look at it head on, isn't it, at first? But if you look at it head on and you try and articulate it and you realize that's just an intrusive thought and doesn't mean it's true. It allows
it's very hard though, isn't it, for people to understand that, because I mean, when you don't study these things, people will say to you, oh, you're having intrusive thoughts. You know, people might go, oh my God, have I got schizophrenia, bipolar, something like that? Why am I having intrusive thoughts? But it's not. We all have intrusive thoughts all day long. We can be thinking about something, doing some work, and all of a sudden some idea pops into our head and we're like, whoa, what the hell's that? But you know, we know it's intrusive, and a lot of people watching might go, oh yeah, that's intrusive. I know what that means. But other people go, well, maybe that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
because a lot of times intrusive thoughts are negative. They're not positive.
Oh yeah, definitely. Intrusive thoughts will, if you believe them and you run with them, will hinder you in your life, yeah. Because
Yeah.
you will start to really genuinely believe that all these negative things that are entering your head are real, and that's what creates paranoia, and that's what makes people segregate themselves from other people, because they think, oh no, I need to hide, I need to keep myself in, because these thoughts that are going on in my head I can't deal with outside, and I'm vulnerable. They make you feel vulnerable. They make you feel like you're left wide open, when in reality you're allowing your intrusive thoughts to take over then, aren't you? So
Intrusive thoughts the same as, or is this autumn? Look, I had a conversation with someone about how we can have thoughts like we're driving along in our car and we just think, oh my God, wouldn't it be great to drive into that traffic? Or what will happen if I drive into that traffic? Is that an intrusive thought, or is that something different?
Yeah, no, it is. It's an intrusive thought, yeah, where you think...
Because that's a random thing, though, isn't it? Really random, that pops in your head that you're not going to do, but all of a sudden you just think, oh, what if I did that?
There's a word for it, and I can't think of it either. There's a word for those thoughts, but we all have them. Even I have them. I think sometimes people can look at people who've studied psychology and think they must be perfect, but absolutely not. We're all human. I have them at times. What would happen if I did this? I was doing a meditation the other day, a group meditation, and I couldn't get out of my head what would happen now if I just stood up and shouted something. And I was so afraid. I was so afraid that I was going to do it. I was so scared that I was going to do it. And that's something so simple, isn't it? So
I know.
it can
Look,
be...
I mean, I've had them when I've been in the shopping centre and I've heard someone yelling or carrying on, and I just think, what if I just went and pushed them over? But I know I'm not going to do it, but I just think it in my head.
It's so true. And so these intrusive thoughts, they can be simple like that, but they can also be really bad. And I think they can start to make you convince yourself, like, I'm mentally ill, or I'm gonna harm someone or harm myself, so I better lock myself up, rather than trying to articulate.
Look, what you're saying there are people who have those intrusive thoughts, and they haven't got a mental illness, but they might just think, I wonder if I stab someone, what will happen? Or I wonder if I push someone off a cliff, And they're not actual real thoughts that you're thinking. They're just things that run into your head, and they're just random.
Yeah.
So even if you're having those, unless you've got other things going on, it's just an intrusive thought that comes in and goes out.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say, like, if you believe something, you've got to feel it. There's a book by Neville Goddard called Feeling is the Secret. And I think if you genuinely do believe, them things, you'll feel it. So if you really do want to kill someone, for instance, I'm sure you'd feel an accumulation of emotion and, feeling within you to do that. If you've just got the thought of, oh, imagine I did that right now, and then you think, oh God, you almost think that weren't me who thought that, who put that thought there.
Yeah.
But the chances are, you don't need to worry
if
about
you
it.
think that thought and then you continue to think that thought, then it's probably something different to what we're discussing, because we're talking, like you just said, oh, I wonder if I did this, and then you go, oh God, I would never do that, because that's usually what happens. The intrusive thought comes in, and then our normal brain clicks in and goes, oh no, I'd never do that. Why would I do that? Why? I mean, when I've thought about pushing someone over, straight away I think, I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? But it's just the thought comes in and you just go, what? No.
Yeah, and then the reasoning mind then takes over, and you realise, that's crazy for me to even think that. And then you think, oh, when even you thought that. And I think sometimes as well, it can be a positive if you have them intrusive thoughts and you go, oh my God, why am I even thinking that? Because it's like you're trying to test yourself. It's like you're trying to, that it's wrong. It's a positive, really. Oh, imagine I jumped off this cliff right now. It's your way of saying to you, I know that I shouldn't jump off this cliff right now. Or I know that I shouldn't drive into that wall right now, or I shouldn't push that person over right now, because it's not acceptable. Which is there are positive beliefs. That's our belief system.
And
that is positive.
You're reassuring yourself that you don't do those sort of things.
Exactly. Yeah. The problem is if you act on it. Don't act on it.
So what we were saying then, if you were listening and you're thinking maybe those are things you're going to do, we were saying that though, if you're having those thoughts and they continue, then you need to go and talk to someone. If you have them and they're
Yeah.
fleeting, they're in and out of your head, that's normal because everybody has these. And it can be triggered by a TV show you watch, someone you were talking to, someone you hear screaming over there. You just hear these thoughts and then they're gone. If it's long
chances are
term, get it set.
Yeah, if they're activated by stimuli in your surroundings, you know, it's inevitable, isn't it? But if you've got something that's there constantly on your head and you really do feel like you want to act on it, it's at that point that you do need to speak to somebody about it, yeah. But other than that, you know, don't feel like you're on your own with it because you're not. We've all got it.
Yeah, we have. The Brave Mind HQ said establishing boundaries with your thoughts.
Exactly.
And there was one blue princess said, "You're young, Daniel." Thank you, Blue Princess. I always put people before me. For a long time, I forgot about myself. And yes, that's what happens. We do forget about ourselves and our self-care.
Yeah. Sad. Because we shouldn't.
God,
I would say you can't pour from an empty cup. Like if you're a people pleaser, why? You know, why are you trying to please everyone? Why are you trying to pour from an empty cup? Because if you do focus on you, the chances are that those who are around you, who really are your people, will want you to focus on you so that they can then also get the best of you. And if you're not giving yourself everything that you need and you're just people pleasing everyone and you're burning yourself out, everyone around you who you care about and cares about you are not getting you at your optimal state.
very good, Holly. Very good.
Yeah.
So what else have we got to talk about today? We've done self-limiting beliefs. We've done intrusive thoughts. We've done people-pleasing. We've covered a lot of ground this morning for you.
Yeah. I could go on all day about all of this. I say to people sometimes, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Just want to get everything out all at once. Whereas, like, if I'm speaking to someone who's got a problem, I am a great listener. But sometimes with these topics, I think to get them out to everybody, it's so important. So I just try and get as much as I can out, you know, as quick as I can.
Well, that's good because the more information we put out there, the more people can work with it and understand it and Google it. You can, anything we talk about, if you Google it, it tells you those things like intrusive thoughts. Google that, it'll tell you all about intrusive thoughts. What we're telling you is a snapshot. If you went and saw counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, they give you a whole lot of stuff and you'd be there for a couple of weeks. We just give you snapshots of what we know. Holly is a trained psychologist, I'm a counsellor, but, you know, we're not actually giving you specific information for yourself. We are just talking in a general way for people to learn about mental health and well-being. One Blue Princess says, very helpful, thank you. Yeah, go on.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I always say, you know, if people on these lives do feel like there are things that like maybe they need a little bit more understanding on, message me. Feel free to message me and I'll always try and give you as much information as possible, always.
Yeah, she will. She'll give you plenty. You can message me. I'll probably take a little bit longer to get back to you though. But yeah, Holly's great. She's you should go and see her page. If you're on here for seeing me, then go and see Perception is Your Power.
Yes,
with underscores.
You.
No underscores. Yeah, underscores.
Yeah. Perception _is _your power.
Underscore power. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you follow Holly because she has some really great updates and stuff that really makes you think about yourself and your life around you. Mine are usually just positive, happy beep beeps, whereas hers is really, really interesting stuff. Makes you think because usually they're 1, 2, 3. What are they called? Slides. And
yeah.
Because you had one the other day, I think there was about 6. I can't remember what the topic was, but I read it and I was like, oh my God, this is really good. This is what I've learned. Oh, why don't I use this? Oh, why don't I think about it? And it was like, wow.
Yeah, you know, thank you.
So the Braver Mind HQ has just said that they're following you. And they said, I love that we're spreading awareness and support around these subjects. Thank you. One Blue Princess is fantastic. One Blue Princess says, thank you so much. Sakip Khan says, hi. There you go.
Hi. Thank you so much.
All right. Are we going to, has anyone got a question? If you have a question, you can put it in the question box. I should have said this at the beginning. Right-hand side down next to the little aeroplane, send us a question and we can answer it for you. Or Holly can. She's probably cleverer than me.
Yeah. Ask me a question.
So self-limiting beliefs in a nutshell is that they hold us back because they're things that we've usually learnt between 0 and 6. And we've held on to them, and so they stop us from becoming the person we want to be or think we should be. And I guess there's some people out there who never even think they should be that because of their self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah, it's like our self-concept or our personal belief of ourselves, our identity, I'd say our self-concept is created on the back of our belief system, and our belief system is created on the back of things that we've been conditioned by, things that we're surrounded by, the people who we're around. And so that means that what we can be capable of, we actually don't even believe we can be, because we've created this self-concept of, oh, I can't do that, so I can only do this, which means that we're never going to excel to the place that we could because we don't believe that we can. So these preconceptions and these assumptions and negative perceptions that we gain from classical conditioning are really a hindrance in our lives, which means that there's so many people who are living their lives in a settled state where they're like, well, I'll just settle for this because it's all that I'm capable or worthy of.
Yeah.
When in reality, if you reprogram your belief system, you will excel. It's impossible to not excel if you reprogram your belief system, because you believe in that you can do more. And once you believe that, your physical state, because it's like what I've said, your cellular, physical, and your mental connection will mean that you will drive yourself through and you will excel. You've got to. Yeah. It's like you're here and you either go up, you stay here, or you go down. And your belief system, I think, is on this line. It depends on that. It's massive belief, huge.
It's also similar to the what is it called? Like comfort zone, but where they say people are in their little box and they're happy in there because they know everything that's going on, and that's where they go at. But unless you start pushing yourself, pushing your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, you're never going to go anywhere because you're just going to settle for what's in that box. And outside of that box is a whole new world.
Well, our subconscious mind, because its job is to keep us safe, sometimes it can actually be self-sabotaging because we can view change as danger. So we can start to change our belief system, or we can start to do something that maybe we're not used to. And that change, we will convince ourselves, is traumatic, and our primitive response can kick in because we can think, oh, no, I'm not used to this. And with that means that the majority of people will go back to that state because they'll think, well, I know this state, so I'm safe. Whereas in reality, if you do break past that discomfort, that initial discomfort, and you carry on moving, you'll find that you'll create a new norm, and that new norm will be higher than the place that you were at the last time. So for anybody who does feel like they want to change their belief system, don't be confused at first if you think, oh my God, no, this change is scary and I'm in danger, because the chances are that you will feel an element of discomfort, but you do have to break past that. And once you do, you will move forward. I promise you.
Yeah. And look, one blue princess says, I'm stuck in the box. Now, one blue princess, if I was to say to you, when I met you, well, I don't know why I'm looking at the time on my watch, but 12 months ago, 18 months ago, how far you've come in that 12 to 18 months is astounding. You've done lots of different little things, and maybe they're not all working at once, but the more you do those things, the better you're going to be. And I've seen a lot of growth in you from when I first met you to how we chat now on here. So you're not stuck in the box. You're opening the box slowly, and you're starting to move out of the box, which is good. Some people, it takes a little bit longer, and that's what you're doing. And so as long as you continue to open the box and gradually start to get outside of that box, you're going to do really well, and you are doing really well. So pat yourself on the back, and you're doing fine, Princess.
I always say that, you know, like small changes are still changes. So don't be like looking online and thinking, you know, oh my God, all these people are making these massive moves and they're changing loads of things in their life and they look like they're doing amazing, because we're all on our own journey. And, you know, if you're still moving forwards, whether it's large steps or small, you're still moving forwards.
And
Give
also,
yourself,
we
give
don't
yourself
know.
some credit.
Yeah, and also we don't know that person who's going leaps and bounds. We don't actually know what their circumstances are. They could have a pot of
No.
money that they're using to get them where they are. They could have just met someone who's gone, hey, I'll take you to the top of my business. There's lots of different circumstances around, and all we've got to do is focus on our own circumstance and go, look, I can get out of this box. I can start moving forward. I can start creating small things. And yeah, One Blue Princess says, thank you, Daniel. You definitely have helped me through. But you've helped yourself. I've just given you little bits of information, and then you've run with it. And that's good. And you have had a few setbacks. That's good, because we move forward, we come back a bit. We reanalyze what we've done, then we move forward again. And sometimes it can take us 10 times to get a little bit forward and come back a bit, and a bit more forward and back a bit, because we're always looking back. Reflection, it's called. We're always reflecting on, how did that work? Oh, actually, if I tweak this, that's a bit better. And that's how we go. That's how I go. I don't just race on ahead. There's loads of things that set me back, but then I have to reflect on them and work out where the opportunities are inside them.
Yeah, it's all experience, isn't it? All of it. Even things that we think are negative are experience and they're lessons. And you know what? Like, if you understand and accept and acknowledge the fact that all of the tools are within you, then you will always be able to move. Always. You're never stuck in a situation or a position or a box if you don't want to be. All the tools are within you.
I like what you said before about, if you are changing, you are going to feel uncomfortable because you're learning new skills, and not all those skills go right the first time you try them. So be prepared for a little bit of being uncomfortable, and then see how you change as you get through those things, because that uncomfortability doesn't last for long. You adapt with it, you change, and then you move forward.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just be aware that, you know, it probably is your subconscious mind convincing yourself that you're in danger when in reality you're not. It's like I always give the example of like addiction, and I'm not going to go into that topic, but if you think about it, people who are addicted to something, they'll try and like go cold turkey from it or whatever, and it's the right thing for them, but their subconscious mind's convincing themselves that that's the thing that's keeping them safe, and that's the thing that causes relapse, when in reality it's not the thing that's keeping them safe, because it's detrimental. So you need to break past that like subconscious thought of, oh, you know, I'm in danger, because you're absolutely not.
And it's so easy to just go back with that voice in your head going, just stay where you are. You're happy, aren't you? You're comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't need to push through. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. And, you know, there is a little bit of anxiety in trying to change who you are. But once you start pushing through, you'll find a completely different thing on the other side. We've got a couple of comments. We had, I think I said that one. So One Blue Princess says, 100% your lives help so much too. The Braver Mind HQ says, your body and mind has spent years perfecting itself. Now we just need to spend time teaching it something new. Perfect.
Yeah.
And One Blue Princess says, affirmations helps so much too. Redette says, it's very hard, and it is hard. And there's no easy fix to changing who you are and what you want to do. It's planning, it's setting goals, it's thinking about where you want to be. It's getting some help from other people, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, mental health people, coaches. You know, all those things can work to help you get to where you want to be. It's just the wanting to change.
Yeah, and it starts and ends with you, doesn't it? You know, that's the thing that like is so important to realize. And although we can get help from other people, you have to really, really hold a safe space for yourself to feel how you feel, and to understand yourself, and to acknowledge your thoughts and your beliefs, to change them, to better yourself, to, you know, move on and live a better life.
Yeah. It's all that. There's lots of things. And as I said earlier in the piece, we can't fix everything in one day. We're not talking particularly to you as an individual. We're giving you information that we're talking about, and we hope that some of it you take and work with, move forward with, ask someone about, look it up online. And, you know, Holly is more experienced than me. She's a psychologist, and look at how, I mean, I have to try and think while she's talking about all the things I remember learning 20 years ago, and Holly's got it all just bam, bam, bam out of her head.
Yeah. But if anyone wants anything, you know, personal message or anything, you know, send me a message. I'm more than happy to explain.
And that's perception _is_your _power.
Yeah. Oh, my friend Molly's just said powerful. Thank you, Moll. Hi.
And look, go and send a message to Holly, because yeah, she will help you if she can. She'll give you some information, maybe point you in the right direction. But you know, that's what she's here on here for, to help people and chat to people, and you know, let people know that we're out there. I'm out there, but you know, I'm on the lives, I'm on podcasts, I'm here every day on this. I'm also on YouTube now. You can catch up on everything I do on YouTube. There we go. That was a huge blurb for myself, wasn't it? Self-advertising at the end. And look,
also, we did do a podcast as well, didn't we? I think that's out in November. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So if you like what Holly and I spoke about here, we did do a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and that will be out early November. So what did we talk about? We talked about
process addictions, addictive behaviours. Yeah,
that's it. So
you also touch on consumer society as well.
Oh, we did too, yeah. So that'll be out mid-November, and the podcast Life Changes You is on Spotify, Apple, everywhere, or you can go to my YouTube channel and watch listen to all the podcasts there, and watch all the lives. So if you think you're going to miss something, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Everything now goes out on there. Yeah. All right, so we've got, so Janetti said hi. The Brave Mind said practice compassion, curiosity, more practice. Your friend Molly said powerful. Redette said can't get help, so tried. And then she said amazing. One Blue Princess said great live tonight. Thank you both. You're amazing. We are. And Redette says love this. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Holly, for coming and joining me.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's
always good to have you on. And yes, listen to the podcast in November, and I'm sure Holly will come back in around December or January.
Yeah, 100%.
And we'll have another topic then. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.